Hi friends, I'm Olga Koelsch and welcome back to my studio. For today's lesson I prepared a pumpkin and we will be painting this funny one with a lot of bubbles and a lot of colors, and I show you how to paint this, looks like a complex thing, in very easy, very spontaneous, very loose way, and I hope you will enjoy the process. So let's start.
So let's explore our pumpkin. Mainly 4 colors: white, yellow, light green, dark green. And as always with watercolor, we start with lights and we do not paint white things. White things or white spots is our paper. So let's water our brush, just very wet brush. And I set up these pumpkin shapes one by one. Probably it's very boring to watch now, but what I'm doing, I'm painting with water, just with clean water. Maybe I have to add just a little bit hint of yellow, so it would be not that boring to observe. So I'm just watering our pumpkin shape. It's a little bit wider on the top and has some sharp end about this. I will try maybe to show a little bit so it all looks like a lovely puddle. Now let's take yellow. I think that's cadmium yellow. It doesn't really matter which yellow you take. Dissolve it a little bit with the water and choose few parts of pumpkin which will be yellow. So I would like to keep a right side with yellow colors and left side with green. But of course you could take your own pumpkin and do whatever you like. And this is very funny pumpkin. It has these bubbles, and to imitate these bubbles I just make some spots with the tip of the brush on wet paper. I don't care too much about being precise. I just keep in mind that with pumpkins it's always a row of shades and lights, because everything what's on the ribs, it's very light, and everything what's in the middle, it's dark. But we will get to that later. I would like to make a soft transition from yellow to green, so I add a few yellow spots on the left side, just like this. Now I prepare light green. Let's see, what do I have? I have this sage green color. It's almost the same. You could always mix phthalo green and dilute it very much and add a hint of ultramarine blue. So light green area, it's mainly on the top, and it has all these bubbles in it, so I just drop some bubbles. Some bubbles. Painting pumpkins is such a fun thing, and I think it's very cool activity for painting with kids, or if you organize at home some harvest fest or some Thanksgiving preparation fest or workshop for kids. It's always a success. So I create these bubbles but just a little, because that's our light green area. And now we have to mix our dark green. I will take phthalo green, which looks like not our green color at all. Looks more like a green for painting mermaids or some sea life. And I need it relatively creamy. And now I mix it with ultramarine blue, getting a little bit darker. And I will add some of your dark browns. I have sepia. Sepia makes perfect greens out of all bright greens, out of blues, so that's perfect green. You could experiment with your brown part of your palette, mix it with greens and blues, and you will get amazing, beautiful mixes, I promise. So now let's, with our super dark green, we could finally make the shades and add all these contrasts. You see, just one drop of super contrast green, and we have our fun pumpkin. I could see where my paper is wet, and in these spots I add small drops of my dark green. And if I see that paper's almost dry, I prefer not to touch this area because it will create these spider webs, which sometimes are very fun and sometimes not necessarily fun, or not necessarily what we are looking for, right? So I create all this bottom. It's a little bit sharp and I forgot about it. So let's make it a bit sharper. Don't be afraid to, at this stage, to paint too dark, too bright, because we are painting our darkest parts. And we are playing with contrast. And contrast is actually, it's the most attractive thing in all drawings, in all paintings, because that's what is the main eye catcher. Colors and contrasts. Not shapes, not lifelike images. It's usually all our impressions are about colors and contrasts. So try to master in that. I'm pretty happy with what's going on here. I will add few details when it's all dry. Now with the tip of the brush, I recommend to use synthetic brushes. Doesn't really matter the brand, etc. It's important that they're synthetic, because synthetic brushes, they have a very strong body. It's not that soft as natural, and thanks to that you could create very fine lines. I think that the stem here, it's a little bit boring, so I would like to add some curviness. To make your lines vivid, hold your brush on the edge and create some fun lines. About this. We could add a few more details later on, not now. Don't try to be too precise, as I already said. Now, what I would like to do, I would like to make my green even darker. So I will add more of sepia. Oh, I have to share that with you. Look what beautiful sea color I got in my water can. It was after mixing phthalo green and ultramarine blue, so now I'm very keen to paint something in these super lovely colors. But let's back to our pumpkin. I prepared a little bit darker green, mostly for the bottom, and for some details. Here we see a lot more of bubbles. I will just make an idea of these bubbles. I will add a few more spots. Don't overdo it. Few drops are just enough. And now what we have to do, that's my unfavorite part. We have to patiently wait until it dries. When you notice that the paper is almost dry, take a smaller brush or the same brush, dry it a little bit, and with the tip of the brush go into the most dark parts of your pumpkin and make few drops. When you control your spots, that spider webs, that makes sense. They're very welcome guests here because we thought about it, planned for that, and that could add this certain spontaneous idea of watercolor, and also some festive. And also it's kind of imitating these bubbles on pumpkin. Again, not overdo it, and try to do it only on the very top. I think the biggest clusters are on the top. So we just paint what we see, what we observe. Now, where the yellow parts are almost dry, and I grab a little bit of my dark mix, and I would like now to add a few more details. I want to make it lighter, and actually I will take my medium green mix. I think it will work better, and very randomly just few details, not so much. I know it's very difficult to stop usually for me at least. So add some details. Very free move of your wrist, of your brush. And now let's grab something super dark and go into our dark parts. It's still wet, so I will switch to this area, which is super dry now, almost dry, not super dry. I could add a few brownish details to this part, and maybe a little bit more of texture with dry brush. See here, we somehow got a big unwelcome puddle, so we have to wait until it dries out completely and then add some texture on the top. And then it will be all fixed. I look through the camera. I think I actually like what I see. I would like to add just a few more lovely details on the very top. About this. And our pumpkin is ready.
Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you had fun. That's the most important thing. And I hope you liked your pumpkins. I'm looking forward to see your paintings. Tag me on Instagram, olga.koelsch, or share your feedback here. I read each and every comment, and I'm very thankful for your very warm feedback you gave me. And see you next time. Bye bye.